It sounds like science fiction, a force from beyond Earth quietly mutating life below. Creatures evolving in strange ways, not from pollution or chemicals, but from space radiation. And lately, whispers and reports have begun circulating online, raising one haunting question. Is space radiation mutating wildlife in certain US states? Is there any truth to it, or is this just another modern myth? To answer that, we need to explore what space radiation really is, and what it isn't. Space radiation is made up of high-energy particles from two main sources. The first is cosmic rays, charged particles, mostly protons, originating from outside the solar system. The second is solar radiation, streams of energetic particles emitted by the sun during solar flares. Unlike visible light, these particles can damage living tissue and even alter DNA. That's why astronauts outside Earth's magnetic field must be shielded carefully on missions. But here's the key: Earth's atmosphere blocks most of this radiation from reaching us. In fact, the planet's magnetic field deflects a majority of incoming charged particles. The atmosphere, especially its upper layers, absorbs what's left before it can touch the ground. That means surface level exposure to space radiation in the US is extremely low, almost negligible. So if animals are mutating, it's likely not from outer space. Still, reports continue to emerge from isolated parts of the US, especially near military zones, deserts, and high-altitude regions. Unusual animal sightings. Deformities in birds. Extra limbs in frogs. Increased aggression in nocturnal species. Shifts in migration, fertility, and appearance. Are these strange wildlife events connected to radiation from above? Or is something else going on entirely? Let's look at one of the most cited zones, the Four Corners region, where Arizona, New Mexico, Utah, and Colorado meet. This area sees slightly higher levels of background cosmic radiation due to its elevation. At higher altitudes, the atmosphere is thinner, so radiation levels are marginally higher. But even here, exposure is still far too low to cause widespread DNA mutations in wildlife. Scientists confirm that cosmic radiation at ground level is less dangerous than X-rays. Animals living in higher regions, like elk, mountain lions, or golden eagles, are naturally adapted to slight changes in UV and radiation levels. But these changes are too subtle to cause the kind of mutations that conspiracy theories describe. So if space radiation isn't the cause, what's behind these odd reports? In many cases, the real culprit is local environmental pollution or man-made radiation. Let's take nuclear testing zones in Nevada and Utah as an example. During the Cold War, over 100 nuclear weapons were detonated above ground in the Nevada test site. Fallout from these tests traveled across several western states, exposing humans and wildlife alike. In some areas, birth defects in animals and cancer rates in livestock did increase. But this was from human-generated radiation, not cosmic or solar particles. The same goes for areas near uranium mines, toxic waste sites, and military facilities. Contaminated groundwater, soil, or air could absolutely affect wildlife health, sometimes in horrifying ways. And it's far more likely that local contamination is to blame for mutations, not the sky above. We can also look at more recent scientific studies. In Chernobyl, Ukraine, after the 1986 nuclear disaster, scientists observed wildlife mutations over decades. Some species of birds develop smaller brains or discolored feathers. Some insects vanished entirely from contaminated areas. But even there, animals eventually returned and adapted, though some with visible biological changes. Again, this wasn't space radiation, it was fallout from a failed nuclear reactor. But it proves a key point: radiation can affect wildlife under certain extreme conditions. It just doesn't come from space in measurable amounts down here on Earth. Another source of mutation in animals comes from pesticides, plastics, and industrial waste. Endocrine disrupting chemicals in water can cause deformities in amphibians and fish. Airborne toxins affect the brain development of birds and mammals. Light pollution disrupts nocturnal hunting and mating behaviors. And habitat loss puts stress on entire populations, accelerating evolutionary shifts. Many of the strange mutations people report may stem from human environmental impacts, not cosmic ones. So why do these space radiation rumors persist, especially in rural and desert regions? One reason is atmospheric phenomena. During solar flares, we sometimes see spikes in auroras, magnetic shifts, or strange electrical events. These cosmic changes are rare but dramatic, and they fuel stories of disruption or mutation. Another factor is the presence of top-secret military installations, like Area 51. These bases are near areas where strange animal sightings and radiation spikes have been reported. But secrecy breeds speculation, and the absence of answers makes space radiation an easy scapegoat. Finally, we can't ignore pop culture's role in this myth. Movies, video games, and shows love the idea of mutation from space. From Godzilla to Stranger Things to Fallout, radiation from above becomes the ultimate villain. It's dramatic. It's mysterious. And it plays into our fears of the unknown. But in real science, the truth is far more grounded, and far more preventable. So, is space radiation mutating wildlife in US states? The answer is no, not in any measurable or verified way. Earth's atmosphere and magnetic field provide powerful, natural shielding against cosmic particles. The mutations and oddities we see in animals are almost always tied to our own actions. Pollution, contamination, land use, and climate change all have far more dramatic effects. The real danger doesn't come from the stars, it comes from the ground beneath us. If we want to protect wildlife from mutation, disease, and extinction, we must clean our waters, regulate our industries, and safeguard wild ecosystems. The sky isn't falling, but the world we've built is putting pressure on the creatures we share it with. And that's something we can't afford to ignore any longer.